Hello and welcome everyone to episode 79 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
How's it going, everybody? I'm, of course, Brandon Bovia, and welcome to part 2 on our discussion of the best One Piece movie ever made, Movie 6, Buried Matsuri at the Secret Island. I can't wait to talk about this movie again. I already miss it.
Come back to me, Baron. No. Of course, we got our actual chapters this week. We're back to Water 7.
Yeah. If there's only one thing that could pull me away from that movie, is Water 7. And the only thing that could pull me away from Water 7 is that movie.
Fitting that they're right next to each other. Like, thank goodness.
Yeah. What timing.
Yep.
Although, I do want to say it was a little bit serendipitous. This is slightly off topic, but I found it kind of funny. So I was at Otakon this past weekend, and those mad lads at Discotech announced that they're like redubbing the Digimon movies.
Oh yeah,
using most of the original cast, and they had a big showing of for the people who don't know, the Digimon the movie that came out here was 3 movies in Japanese, and it was all like cut and hacked together and nigh incomprehensible. So now that both that original movie and the original 3 movies that they're based on from Japanese are coming over, and they're redubbing them with most of the same cast. But I found it funny because the first 2 of those movies are directed by Mamoru Hosoda, who of course directed the movie that we just watched. So it was a bit just kind of like, oh yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Funimation will go back and dub the old One Piece movies. I doubt it.
Please.
If it was Discotech, they'd do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Although I guess on the other topic of One Piece movies, I think this happened while in the week since, but they added 3 of the more recent One Piece movies to Crunchyroll. So if you're a little bit ahead of us, I think they added Strong World Gold and Red. Oh wow! Yeah,
that's awesome.
Which are all pretty good to great movies. So,
yeah.
Particularly if you're caught up-ish to the manga, Red is, I think, fantastic. So
nice. I'm looking forward to eventually checking those out in a couple years.
Yeah, the batting average of these movies are about to get a lot higher.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some more stuff with Water 7 happening, and again, I'd say this is mostly a set of setup chapters where we're just getting
it's really good setup.
The team back. Oh yeah, there's some good stuff in here that I completely forgot about, and just has some good set pieces that just completely blanked on. So let's get right to it with chapter 361 PS. And this is definitely Miss Golden Week's story, as she wants to, for some reason, hold a Baroque reunion. She's seeing all their faces for the first time, I assume, although Mr. 3 is missing, which is interesting there. And of course, we got Mr. 5 and Miss what was her? Miss I forget what her name was.
Was it like, oh geez, yeah.
I just think Lemon Girl.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, I think I like this outfit more than her typical outfit. Yeah. But we'll see how that all goes. Although it's one of those questions is, why does she care?
Yeah. That's the interesting thing. I'm really curious to where this cover story's going, because I have no idea, but like I'm invested enough in the Baroque Works cast to be like, okay, like let's see where this goes. And I like the idea of this was an organization that was so shrouded in mystery that this probably would be the first time that Miss Golden Week actually sees what they look like.
For sure.
Although that does beg the question, like I guess she must know what happened now that she's reading the newspaper. So I was going to ask, like, how much does she know? Like does she like of all that happened?
I mean, she might have seen it all. Who knows? We'll see how it all comes together. But in the meantime, of course, the search is still going on for Luffy and Zoro. No luck on that yet, because just like, where the heck are they? And we said we had 20 minutes. We lied. There's not 20 minutes left.
Oh yeah.
It's getting so rough. It's like, we're leaving it a little early because all of our passengers are here. Let's just go. And you got this fancy train car, everybody having their own seat. Lucci's, saying, I don't have any regret. I have no ties to this island. Meanwhile, I forgot
does
that
the pigeon have his own seat too?
The pigeon has his own seat. I was marveling at the fact he got his own coat.
Yeah.
That's
look. The pigeon needs the drip too.
Yeah, that is a cool looking pigeon. So yeah, it's just time is running out, and Nami and Polly realize this, so they are booking it as fast as they can, and it doesn't look good. It's like you pretty much know at this point they're gonna miss it, and even Frankie and Usopp are knocked out, and all the while Sanji's watching this, and you're not quite sure what he's gonna do. He hasn't jumped on
really
yet, which
like
is weird.
the panels that like are just kind of dedicated to like you see like him walking down the steps completely in shadow, and just like, you know, the camera's pulled back, and he's just, you don't know what he's doing yet, but you know he's definitely considering something. But like I feel like especially in this set of chapters, like Oda just like cranked up Sanji's cool factor. Just like he hasn't had time to do anything in a while, so
yeah, time to fix that. And Nami makes a run for it, and Robin's reflecting on her time with the crew and the fact that they made her, you know, actually.
Oh, yeah, and that little like as she reflects on that, just like her eyes, you know, she's got like her head or her hand on her head, and you know, eyes closed, and she's just like smiling as she, you know, reflects back on that all, which is like, oh, my heart.
Yeah,
it's a really subtle thing, but
in my heart more also just like Nami declaring that, get off the train, we'll fight anyone with you, we don't care, which is so true.
Yeah,
obviously Luffy and Zoro are still stuck, they're still looking, and nope, it's too late, they're gone.
Yeah,
and and Nami's just sort of shaking as Polly's just like, all right, well, that was an early departure. I guess the seas were pretty rough, but it isn't safe here either because Aqua Laguna could arrive at any moment. So, you know, you can't stop a train that's already left. Probably time to stop crying so we can get there. And all of a sudden she declares, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm not sad, I'm pissed.
Yeah, which I feel like that is sort of the running theme for this set of chapters, is just like, in all of the circumstances, like seeing the Straw Hats at their lowest point, it's just like, no, we're committed.
Yeah, we are friends, and we will do whatever it takes. Give me your biggest, strongest ships. I'm gonna navigate my way through that. And they're like, no, you idiot. Aqua Laguna is completely different from anything you know. You will not survive those seas.
And lo and behold,
sure enough, we got a wave that breaks apart part of the station. Like, it is wow.
I noticed that before they pointed it out in dialogue. There was just a couple panels earlier, and I was just like, oh my god.
It's really demonstrating.
There's one thing, like, Oda really sells the danger of Aqua Laguna here. Like, it is, I feel like we've had the build up throughout basically the entire arc up to this point, and now that we're seeing it in action, it's just like, oh, you know, okay, it's just a big wave. It's like, oh no, this is.
And the thing is, it's even worse than usual because they're saying, it's like,
they point out,
what we're having right now is as big, as fast as last year's. It's like,
this isn't normal.
This is bad. Nami's like, well, is the sea train going to be all right? It was like, well, it should just be outside the affected waters right before high tide starts. So as long as it doesn't get hit, it should be fine. That's just how good it was built. And then all of a sudden, someone from the Galileo company says, hey, is your name Nami? Because I found a letter left for you. And she's like, wow, such a small note. How'd you find it? I love this joke. Nami, read this.
If you're not Nami, don't read it, idiot.
That clown. That's amazing. And then just the reaction to it is like, what does it say? Hold on. The first half's mostly a pointless love letter. The real here's
skims right over it. Yep.
The PS is what actually matters. So Sanji is saying that, hey, Robin's on the sea train that I left at 11. I'm going to get on too, and Usopp's on there as well, along with Frankie, who he doesn't actually know him, but he just like a gigantic thug with a pompadour. It's like, oh, that's Frankie.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, got to be Frankie. I actually missed this while I was reading for this podcast, but like, a couple pages ago, there's the bit like right after Nami says, like, you're just like, oh, you know, they didn't make it. You see like the two kind of like conductor-looking guys. I think Sanji beat them up so that he could get on the train because, you know, one of us is like, ow, what was that man planning to do? And then, you know, the other one's like, it doesn't matter. The train was reserved by the government. Once they catch him, it's over.
Oh, I did miss that. Yeah, he did just sort of knock them out and jump on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, here's a baby transponder snail. There's probably one on the train, so I will contact you with that. And I love how there's just more. Even her dialogue box overwrites what he was saying about my beloved. Just think of me, your beloved, and it's just like whatever.
Oh, I love that. This is all the PS segment. So after writing a big dumb love letter, he dedicates more of the PS segment to more big dumb love letter. Yeah.
But now she's confident that they'll get to Enos Lobby no matter what. And we end the chapter with Sanji on the back end of the train. It's like, man, it's really wet. It's hard to smoke with all this water. How am I going to get in there? And what am I going to do without getting noticed? And all of a sudden, somebody just walks outside. And I love that face that that Sanji makes.
He just kicks him in the face.
Yep. It's like, all right, well, so much for that. That's the end.
This is how I play stealth games.
I mean, fair. I think that's how most people play stealth games.
Yeah. It's just like, well, you got caught on the first encounter. It's like, all right, time to just tear it up.
Yep, pretty much. Guns a-blazing it is. Well, let's get to chapter 362, Ebb Tide, where Golden Week declares, let's go to the prison. She's packing up all of her stuff, and she apparently wants to go rescue the Baroque Works members. Which
is dedication.
Yeah, like why does she care? Like,
yeah.
It's weird to see her with this much agency, because we did not see it from that before.
Yeah, and all of this, yeah, because I guess she was kind of a really passive character, but now she's got. Oh, I love that she has this determination, but her like face is still completely blank.
Yeah, it's very, very odd, but we'll see what comes of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pick back up with Sanji in the rear train car with all the guns pointed at him.
Yep. What One Piece opinion has you like this?
Oh God, that is a yeah. You can totally adapt that.
I won't.
No.
And actually, in fact, if I see anybody do this, I'll be very upset. I regret the energy that I just put out into the world.
Yeah. Of course, Sanji's not taking them seriously, and they're like, we've got to report this to Lucci. We got a suspicious intruder. Then all of a sudden somebody says, we don't need to go out of our way to tell CP9 about it. It's just, there's no reason to fear, because in this car, I'll protect you. And we meet Jerry.
Jerry. A surprisingly plain name for... Well, I love the reveal, first off.
Yeah, the reveal is super good. The angles you get with this guy is amazing. Like this,
so funny.
This is just a perfectly executed joke.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm speaking too soon here, but I feel like Oda's bit characters are getting kind of, because like he's just a complete like gag character, but like I think the gags are getting funnier.
I think so. He's figuring out his humor, and the thing is, he can play with this more because he has introduced a bunch of characters who are really taller than the average person, so he's able to play with that kind of joke and the perspective, so it works pretty well.
Yeah, like the guy, he's basically leaning at a 90-degree angle, where like he's standing straight up, and then just like from like the butt forward, it's just like right up against the ceiling of the train car.
And it's like all these odd bits about him. It's like, I'm from CP6. I'm from the South Blue, from an island known for its karate. So I'm a boxing champion. What?
Yeah, Sanji, so do some karate.
Yeah, and then he punches away, and Sanji jumps away, and of course all the other government officials get the attacks instead.
Yep.
And we just get this ridiculous like Yuga style where he has no, like, he's an idiot. He's like, you can't reach me out. Then he tries to do a drop kick, and like, nah, that's it.
Yeah.
One kick, he's done.
Before that, I do love the joke where Jerry's just like, just because I'm tall doesn't mean don't think this little carriage is any problem for me. As he's like bent over, and Sanji's just like, I've never had somebody threaten me from between their legs before. This is just like the most bizarre imagery.
For sure. This is an odd fight. But of course, we got our classic freak out where Sanji takes him out. All the other government officials are like, oh crap.
Yep. Yeah. Which I feel like it's been a little while since Sanji's been able to style on somebody. So
yeah, this might be his chance to make it his Zoro's Whiskey Peak bit.
Yeah. It feels very similar to that. It's just like, all right, like there's one of me and 100 of you.
Yep. And I like this breakdown because all of a sudden we got this guy saying, all right, here's all the defense we have, and other than you guys. Got a boxer from CP6 called Jerry. They get stronger the farther up you go the train. So in charge of the 40 Navy men in Car 5 is as the Navy headquarters captain and former Knight T-Bone. Car 4 is also the waiter. One's from a fighter from CP7, excuse me. Car 3 is the newest member of CP9, Nero. And we're just completely set. I have all kinds of defenses, which immediately brought to mind is like, oh, Oda just made his own muscle tower.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I find it obviously he's explaining this for the reader more so than like CP9 would know this already. But I don't know. There's something I find really funny about like we've arranged this the train cars from weakest to strongest.
Yeah, it's a classic thing. It's all right, sure. I mean, they don't even really need that. They have CP9 there. I mean, I guess they don't need a fight, exactly. But it's like, all right, sure.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, Nami's relating to Chopper, like that Sanji is there, and that Usopp's on the same train, and we gotta find them and we still have to find Luffy and Zoro and really get this figured out. All the while, as everybody's continuing to search, Iceberg gets a serious look on his face because he's hearing these reports, and it's like, what's he up to? But then we also, like, I love this, is like these guys that Sanji beat up to get on the train. Nami orders them to go get as much meat and wine as they can find.
Yep. You already know what that's for.
Oh, well, yeah.
I love that they're just like, she must be really hungry. He's like, maybe she's going through a growth spurt. It's like, oh, no, that part comes later.
It kind of already happened. She's not done growing. Oh gosh, they're yelling and trying to find them, and that's when we get the title of this set, The Ebb Tide, and we get this explanation from Kokoro. The more water ebbs out, the bigger the wave that will return. Watch the way the tide goes out, and you to know how big the tide will be. She's not even concerned for her granddaughter almost getting blown away.
Yeah, she's just completely horizontal.
And incredible shot here, where it's like you get the sense of like, oh no, because all of Water 7 is revealed. The ocean floor seems to be revealed. Yep.
Yeah, you're just seeing all of like the crabs and the fish flopping and what looked like a bunch of just busted up ships.
Yeah, which I guess is where the Mary would be at this point.
Yeah, oof.
She's even saying it's like it's been decades and I've never encountered such a sight. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
And even the sound of the ocean has stopped, and it's like, oh, this is what they mean by Aqua Laguna. It's not just the storm itself; it's these giant waves. Oh,
yeah,
crap.
And I mean the build up to this is really brilliant too, because like just like what we saw at the train station, what a normal amount of water did to that signpost.
Yeah, and I was
right,
just
like that. It wasn't like, obviously because the sea train had to leave. Like there was a normal amount of water, and that was enough to completely obliterate that signpost. And now we're just like, oh, okay, yeah. The entirety of the city's water is just ebbed.
Yep. But that also allows Kokoro's granddaughter, or Chimney. I was like, what is her name? Chimney, to spot Luffy. There's something wedged in between the buildings, and of course Nami spots Luffy. And well, it's like, well, he's dead. That's what Kokoro's thought is.
Yeah, and man, props to Nami for this scene. I forgot how bad. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, she just immediately takes off to go rescue Luffy, screaming out, like, "Hey, you gotta live! Aqua Laguna is coming!" And it's like, oh no.
Yeah,
but props to her, as you said.
Yeah, she's going for it. She sees her chance and she's gonna take it.
Oh yeah, but yeah, let's see how that all goes with chapter 363, Aqua Laguna, and we thanks to Golden Week, we got a ride. The yellow green of friendship colors trap.
I kind of forgot that's what her power was.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The amazing thing to me is still it's not a devil fruit. It's just a thing she can do.
It just works.
Yep, it's all hypnotism.
I love that. Again, she's the one doing all the work here, and you've got Mr. Five and the other girl whose name I can't remember. They're all just hiding behind a tree, like, oh god.
It's like, what is this girl up to? Yet they're still joining her. So okay. And into the chapter itself, because you don't want to stop at this point. It's like it just keeps like building up, and you can see even more of like the fish farther out when they're just lying on the ground. It's like, oh no, there is no water around this city at all.
Yeah, it's just like allowing the camera to zoom out and just seeing the scale of what is about to happen.
It's like
it's very foreboding.
How would this city survive?
Yeah,
really, that's what it comes down to.
And I guess like one thing I don't think I ever appreciated about this part before was like how effectively it sets up the stakes. Because at this point, God, especially since my first experience with this was the anime, I was just like, get on with it. Come on. Like, obviously they're going to find them. So just like hurry up and do it. But I think because it is only really like 2 or 3 chapters here in the manga, I'm able to be like, like I'm able to see and appreciate like how well it's set up.
Yeah. It there's a nice pace to it because this is one of those things where you lose a lot of the threat if it just takes longer.
Yeah. Like it feels urgent here.
Yeah, that you want that urgency, especially because you have Nami jumping across the buildings to try to get to Luffy. Chopper finally spots Zoro in a smokestack. He runs off to try to get them, and Paul is like, "No, don't chase them. Like they will get killed." It's like it's basically all on their shoulders. Yeah. And even Kokoro is like, that was stupid. Like, it's weird to see her so serious.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, she's usually so, like, laid back and just, completely wasted. So to see her, again, we'll want to, kind of have that care for Nami, but also be like, oh, you're going to die.
Well, she's been shocked sober.
Yeah, really.
And already, in not a little bit of time, about amount of time, we can see the wave starting to build, and they're just like, well, nothing can save them. And Chopper gets to Zoro. Nami is able to jump across the rooftops until she's able to get as close as she can, where she just shouts her lungs out, and it's just like, what are you doing? He's just sort of talking like normally, and she's like, starts crying. It's like, stop playing around. This is not the time. They took Robin. She did it for us. She's planning to die. So you need to get out of there so we can go save her. And all Luffy says is, Robin was lying? I'm so glad. And it's like, it's like, that's that power of friendship stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, now that he knows.
Yeah, he's like, I was kidding around before. Like, it's like, whatever. I'm just stuck here. No big deal.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, no, we're not going to let Robin die. And Chopper can't get Zoro out of the smokestack, the chimney, and it's like, oh, how are we going to get out of that? And Zoro is able to sense that he has Katetsu with him. He's like,
yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, if it comes to that sword, I know. So there's something off about that sword, which is very interesting. Is Katetsu the one that's the curse blade, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and there's there's things with that.
Interesting. But yeah, he's like, hey, just give it to me and I'll take care of it. And here comes the wave. Everybody's like, get up higher. And then we get this spread. Holy hell. Like, I know at a low angle, but still.
Look, I mean, the way that it's just towering over what feels, or it's like towering over the lower level of Water 7. But it is like at height with the upper level, it looks like, if not higher.
Yeah, and that has to be very pointed for a Japanese audience that does have to deal with these tidal waves. To see that, like, I'm sure that's like, oh no, type thing. Like, we certainly get that sense, but it has to be enhanced even further for the Japanese audience.
Yeah, if you live in a tropical island country, this probably hits different
for sure. And all the while, as that's getting closer, Luffy using that strength to push apart the buildings he's stuck between. They're like, he's busting up the city, and then he grabs a hold of a building, grabs hold of Nami. All the while, Zoro does his 36 caliber Phoenix, smashes down through the entire.
Awesome, by the way. Just
looks
rad. I forgot that's how he got out. It just splits it right down the middle.
Yep. And we get these wonderful reactions where it's like, who are these people?
Yeah, just, oh my god. I mean, I love, like, it really was. Once Luffy now learned that, Robin was doing everything to protect them, it's just, he's quite literally ready to move heaven and earth.
Yeah. And I like that Zoro saves himself, but then Chopper saves both of them, but with his jumping boost. I think that's a nice little combination of abilities.
Yeah, it's good to see him using that.
Mm-hmm. And the wave's so strong it's knocking over buildings, basically taking out the entirety of the back alleys. But they made it to the Great Bridge. They should be safe. They're not going to make it up that far. And then all of a sudden it makes it that far and crashes into them.
It was a much more of an interesting set piece than I remembered it being. And a lot more, of course, it's, one of those typical, like, last-minute save kind of deals.
It's the spectacle, I think, that helps it.
Exactly, yeah. It's definitely the spectacle, which was an aspect of this, of Luffy and Zoro's escape that I had forgotten about. And, I think that kind of helps it feel a little bit less like padding. Yeah. It's just like, okay, come on. Get on with it. But
this isn't going to hurt them, and there is still a part, like, there was a part of me as I was reading this, it was like, I want to get to the fireworks factory.
Yeah. I mean, we got to get the proper setup in.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
And they were really only stuck for a few, not counting the flashback and stuff like that.
Right. But, it was by the time they were all searching for him, I think it was like 4 chapters before they all got unstuck, and that's not bad at all. But yeah, let's move on to chapter 364, Kokoro, and there's a fun dynamic shot of them fighting a
this color spread's bonkers. It's awesome. Like, there's so many different things just happening.
Yeah, it looks pretty great, and I love how Robin's lounging, and for some reason, I don't know if I love this, but for some reason, Nami's not wearing pants.
Just, sure, why not? I love the little, like, what would you call it? The little, like, they got like a bicycle with a glider attached to it. There's a word for that, but
yeah, I'm not sure. The design of Sanji's gun is wild.
Yeah. Sanji's, again, I don't know what it is. This set of chapters, Sanji, man, he's getting his flower.
He certainly is. But it looks like the end. They were swallowed by Aqua Laguna. But no, Polly with the save, using his ropes to get all of them. Well done. Good on you, Polly.
I really like the emphasis on teamwork in this whole sequence is so good.
Yeah.
It really feels like none of this would have, like, if any one character was not a part of this, it wouldn't have worked out.
And we've said it before, but that is the strength of One Piece. It's not just one character can accomplish anything. They need the other characters at different points if they're ever going to eke out a victory.
Yeah, and it's not even just about, like, the fights too, which is, I mean, One Piece is a shonen manga, but it is an adventure manga, and so, like, seeing not like a like a 1-versus-1 fight in a traditional sense, but, like, you're still having, like, there are problems that need to be solved that take multiple characters to pull through, I think can still be really, really satisfying.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. It sucked me in when I first encountered it, and I think that's why it's so successful. It's just, it has that different feeling. It's wild. It has this, these crazy stories, but it's that core group, and seeing them interact and seeing how they just aid one another. Like each, like you'd think you'd worry about the dynamic being thrown off by adding more characters, like, oh God, we got another one. Are they going to gel? But no, each one gels pretty well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they make a run for it as the Great Bridge crumbles, and they just barely make it onto the top as everything below the shipbuilding island is underwater.
Yeah. What a shot, too.
It is like, oh no. It just emphasizes how much is beneath the water, and it's like, oh man, this island really is just sinking.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes there, but it's like, we should probably evacuate even further inland at this rate. Kokoro comes up and it's like, wow, you guys are still alive. That's amazing. And they're just like, sure.
Yeah. Well, Luffy with no chills. It's the old monster lady.
Pretty much.
Jesus.
And then, like, Zoro's getting suffocated by a passed out, freaked out Chopper. Luffy's laughing at the fact that Zoro got stuck in a smokestack called the dork.
This interaction is just so great.
And Nami's just pulling on his face the entire time as he's doing it. It's like, all right, we got a lot to tell you. It's like, And they get the breakdown. It's like, all right, let's get a ship and go after them right away. And Rope Guy loan us a ship. And he's like, that's not possible. The Puffing Tom is the only sea train in the world. It's a miracle of a ship, and there's no other ships that can get through here. No ship has ever survived the oceans during even a normal Aqua Laguna, and this one's even worse. So the town is sturdier than our best ships. It's being destroyed. You do not stand a chance.
And I like how clearly I feel like at this point, like, the readers know, how clearly the stakes have been laid out, and we can understand, like, there's no there's no getting through that.
Yeah. They're like, wait till morning until the storm has passed, then we'll loan you a ship and you guys can head for that. But, we have to wait till morning. It's like, and that's when Nami reveals, I know what Enos Lobby is. I remembered something I heard about it. It's the location of the Gates of Justice. So, there's a courthouse in Enos Lobby, but it's a courthouse in name only because just being taken there is considered a proof that you are a criminal. So there's nobody in the courthouse. They are just walked straight through it until they reach a cold steel door, and those are the state Gates of Justice. So once they pass through that door, they will never see the light of day again because there's only two options. Either you set sail and arrive at the summit of the forces of justice in the world, Navy headquarters, which, yikes. Or, in the other direction, is a row of torture chambers and execution blocks that dangerous prisoners who rampage the world over are confined in, an underwater prison known as Impel Down.
I feel like this exposition sequence kind of lays it out, even more and more that we're seeing throughout this arc. Like, man, like the government is kind of effed,
Yeah, for sure.
The way that they treat anybody even accused of being a criminal is just like. And just like, they just torture people. Yeah, that's just there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing something we don't agree with, we'll just send you to this place. And it's like, that's not great.
Yep.
And it's just one of those things where it's like we've seen bits of the Navy headquarters here and there, and it seems fine. But of course, it's the Navy headquarters. You're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's the last place a pirate would want to be.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where like. We've just raised the stakes again. It's like, she's not just being taken prisoner to a normal island. She's being taken to a place where there is no return.
No escape. Yep. And that adds another layer of urgency.
Yeah.
We have to go save her now, basically.
Yeah. And Paulie's just like, okay, if you know that much, even if we lend you a ship, if you get there, you will not make it through because there are battle lines drawn around it. There is no way through. You will get attacked by the Navy and be sent, basically sank. Are you willing to pick a fight with the heart of the world government? And that's when
Luffy just he just has a just complete straight face, no response.
Yeah. And all he does is, hey, if you're not going to help us, we'll have to steal a ship. We're setting sail now. And they're like,
and I love that, like, Luffy, like, we'll steal a ship, and then like the waves crash behind him or in front of him.
I love Chimney's like, even the waves got mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, our crewmate's waiting for us. Get out of the way. And Paul is like, I'm going to fight you to stop this. And that's when Kokoro steps up and just like, so you're in the wrong here. It's just as Paulie says, you're a fool. But listen, if I left your people to your own devices, you'd be racing to your death. But if there's any ship in the world able to ride out this Aqua Laguna, it's the Sea Train. But if you're that eager to meet your end, come with me and I'll send a Sea Train out for you. So apparently there's
what a line.
Option. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're so eager to meet your end, come with me.
Not come with me if you want to live. Come with me if you want to die.
Yeah. Kokoro has no business looking that cool.
Right?
And having that cool dialogue.
Oh, man, it's wonderful. But a very good SBS stuff I didn't even notice. There's a bunch of cameos. I didn't notice this
either. This is awesome.
So many cameos for the Sea Train chapter where the first launched. And there's a young Polly. There's a young Mozu and Kiwi. There's a young Zambai.
Zambai, there it is.
Yeah, there he is. That became part of the Frankie family, and it's the
fishnets guy.
Yeah, I love this actual explanation where it's like these are the ones Frankie takes in the ones that weren't considered good enough to join Galley La, and so he just sort of gathers together all of the misfits.
Yeah, exactly.
The failures and the baddies. He's the benefactor. So I think he can identify with that type of.
It's stuff
person.
like this that really gives Water 7 such a strong sense of place, and all it really is like, oh, we're seeing characters we've already been introduced to, like in a flashback, but. I don't know. There's stuff like this that makes it feel so cohesive, and like seeing these characters kind of like young and like feeling like they might have their whole lives in front of them. You're like, oh no, they were kind of the failures in the baddie.
Well, at least all but Paulie.
But they still had a place, and Paulie really came into his own, man. Wow, that's a glow up.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, goodness. Well, let's get to chapter 365, the last for this set, ROCKETMAN. And this is the great escape from the island of Giants. Like, Golden Week has proven to be kind of awesome in this. Like, I've really
seriously,
enjoyed her.
Taking charge. She's been really fun to follow. And hey, it's the Giants again.
Yeah, which, fair to Mr. Five freaking out like that, but I'm surprised the Giant is just kind of chill because this was the guy who exploded your stomach, dude.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Like, I'm surprised he doesn't just like, I'm just going to take you and crush.
You could just like swat him right out of the sky, but letting him go.
Yep.
At least as far as I know, anyway.
Yeah, I think so. It definitely, he does. That is not a look of anger on the Giant's face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dory, I think his name is. Because the other one's Broggy. But yeah, but I love the umbrella and the fact that she can just make herself light. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not weighing you down. But then we have to have our things spoiled as we get back to Spandam in the next chapter. And he's just like, this is the best. I'm having a nice meal. Aokiji gave me the okay for the Buster call. No way to have any kind of stronger ally. But the fact that the Miko Robin and the Tom's disciple who holds the Pluton blueprints, the only two humans who have the key to reviving that ancient weapon that can destroy the world, is coming straight to me. Wahaha! All the while this elephant like puts his trunk on his head.
Yeah. Although I feel like important to point out, the elephant's name is Funk Freed, which is just A+. That is an A+ name.
That is a good name, and it's also funny that Funk Freed has to be dressed up in the same way as Spandam with all the.
Oh yeah,
let's go with Gimp gear.
Realize that. Yeah. Okay, sure. Why not?
Sure. All right. But it's like, man, he's just proving himself to be very detestable. That's not a good sign of the line. Enough military force to destroy the world coming straight to me. It's like, I don't like that idea.
Yeah. That does make me think. I feel like it's been a little while since we've had just a completely detestable mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, I mean, we did have Aneru to a degree.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like the mustache twirling, but he sucks.
Yeah. That's
right?
the part. That's the part that always, for whatever reason, the mustache twirling when they are not strong on their own. That's more annoying in a way.
Yeah, it really is. It's
the inflated ego.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, not since Wapol, I feel like, have we kind of had just awful.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Although I guess Lucci has the cool factor, so I guess it's.
Yeah, Lucci absolutely has the cool factor. It's like, yeah, I get it. But in the meantime, Sanji has cleared out Car 7, and he's working his way through Car 6. And takes out all of them, kicks one guy through the roof. Like, that's...
Yeah, that got a good laugh out of me. It's just, oh my god. Again, it feels like Sanji just banked all of his coolness and is just letting it all loose, right now.
Pretty much. And hey, with this, he's able to find Usopp and Frankie. He's like, well, I'd like to ask you the same thing. What are you doing in the sea train, Usopp? And I haven't been introduced to you over there.
I love that he completely plays into the bit of just you're not part of the crew anymore, so.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
do I know you?
Friend of yours? Ex-friend.
Yep. Right. And then this bit too.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, ex-friend, but also, you're Frankie. You did that to our long nose. So he starts beating him up.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It was like, ex-friend, but I'm still going to beat you up for that.
Yeah.
And Usopp's trying to defend him. Is like, he saved the Merry Go, at least temporarily. And it's like, oh yeah, the Merry Go is, and he's just kind of sad.
Yeah. Oh.
Frankie's like, hey, get me out of these ropes. And it's like, no, and Sanji's like, no, you untie the ropes.
Yeah. I'd forgotten that they had just complete uneasy alliance going on here.
Yeah, I forgot about this animosity. But the other thing is that Usopp
but it makes sense too.
Completely screws them over. He's like, knock it off. If we waste time like this, they're going to catch us. And he screams it so loud that the Captain T-Bone in the next car is like, what's that?
Oh dear.
Well, that's not good. But yeah, back at Water 7, the rest of the crew heads behind the garbage dump at the brick warehouse. And it's like, well, it's been neglected for 8 years. The sea train itself hasn't been touched for more than 12 years. It may not even move anymore. So, take good luck. And she's like, huh, that's weird. There's a lock on the front, but it's open already. And she's like, well, it's not a proper sea train, but this is the ROCKETMAN. It's the runaway sea train. I'm sorry, that's an awesome design. I love that face.
Great. Well, she says we put the shark head there as a joke.
And I love how Luffy and Chopper are just like, it looks fast. It looks so cool.
Yep.
But then Iceberg steps out. We get to find out this is what he's been up to. He's like, oh, Kokoro brought you here? And it's like, Kokoro's just like, you survived. And I love that he has his old like bandana on.
Yeah, it makes him feel like how he was in the flashback. He's just like he's in work mode.
Yeah, I love that. And he's like, well, looks like we're thinking the same thing. We can't just leave these fools to their own devices. So use it. I've tuned it up. The watering coal stores are filled and the steam is building up now. So you can give it a shot, but just know that it's flawed. It's even no matter how many times we adjusted it, the steam engine speed is uncontrollable and it runs wild. So I can't guarantee your lives. And Luffy's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I love this is. I don't know. This is the stuff that's really satisfying to me. That's just like, well, okay, we've got like our one option, but you might die.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's fine. But there is a bit of a problem though, as when Luffy's getting on, he's like, oh, I do feel sort of weak. He sort of slumps over. It's like, yeah, you did lose a lot of blood. It's like, well, if only I had some meat. And sure enough, here comes those two guys with all the food. And Luffy's like, hey, what are you doing messing around? Hurry up and get on, you fool. It's like, where have you been? Who's the one who said we didn't have any time? And what's all that stuff? Food and drink. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, just apologizes immediately, of course.
I love that Zoro's loading up on all the wine.
Yeah, the little sparkle on his eye. It's great. And
it's also impressive that like Kokoro is like, you're going to die if you go there. But she's also like, I'll drive you there.
Yeah. Which I guess I wonder if Iceberg was prepared to pilot it himself.
I don't know. I mean, it does feel like Kokoro is the one that probably knows these the most because she's been driving it since the beginning, but maybe not.
That's true too.
And all of a sudden, the Frankie family shows up, begging to be taken with them because we got to get our bro Frankie back, and we are willing to die to save him. Like,
yep. They're willing to go up against the government too.
Yeah. Nami's like, yeah, right. You caused us so much trouble. And it's like, no, we're swallowing our pride because we want to save you. It's like, and Luffy's just like, all right, get on.
Get on. Yeah. It just snap decisions.
Yeah. It's like, hey, they're doing it for their friend. I respect that. Let's go.
Well, and I love, they're going to hitch on the back.
Yeah. They're just hitching on with their own stuff. And in the meanwhile, Paulie, hitching a ride in the coal cart, I think it is.
Yeah. We got a stowaway.
Yeah. We have quite the group heading towards
Ida's which
lobby.
Is interesting too, since Paulie was, he was ready to be like, I will fight you to make sure that you don't go.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think he's trying to save like Frankie or really trying to save anyone. I think he just wants to get revenge on the people that lied to him.
Yeah,
and hurt Iceberg.
I definitely, I feel like a character like Paulie wouldn't just like watch other people just like go off on their merry way to, kind of put an end to things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes total sense that he'd want to tag along. But yeah, I really, God, maybe more so than at any other point in the series so far. Like this like kind of ragtag team of rebels that we have like going up against the government. Like there's something really cool about like, I mean, I feel like that's like one of the creeds of shonen manga of is just like your former villains are now your friends, to team up to fight an even greater threat.
Yeah. And we've had similar things before where they did have a team up, but not like this many people, because in Skypiea, we were all fighting each other. It was definitely the pirates versus the shenanigans versus the Nehru's warriors.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was definitely miscommunication here where they had to fight the Water 7 people, but they never really tried to fight them. It was just always these setups and whatnot. Now they've gotten through all the lies, all the misdirection. As you said, we got this ragtag group, and it works because there's something more exciting about just the Straw Hats going there. It's the fact that all these other people is like, what are their roles going to be? And honestly, I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I can't quite remember either. But I think this is a real show of like Luffy's ability, and maybe just like the Straw Hats as a whole, of like their ability to get other people to rally behind them.
Yeah, they definitely give that inspiration. What a cool final shot of Luffy, of course, being on the front of it.
Yeah, of course.
Just declaring, we're taking everything back.
After everything that they've been through, just seeing that smile on Luffy's face, seeing that smile on, on Zoro too, and just like, after everything we've been through, like, it's time to take everything back. Yeah, it's time to fight back.
Yeah.
Like, we're ready.
we are fighting the world government, and I think that's the first time they fought the government specifically, like taking a fight to the government. Since since the very beginning with Kobe.
Yeah, I want to say so. Yeah,
because they've had run-ins with the government, but they've never directly fought them. Like they didn't like bother to like, we got to take down Smoker, or we got to do take down Tashigi or anything like that. It's always like, we need to run.
Yeah, and I feel like the buildup has been there too with they fought Crocodile, who is not a part of the government technically, but is basically like, it is a very convenient relationship of the government is using him as a deterrent. And then of course Crocodile is using them for his own aim. So it is kind of an interesting buildup of like the government and the Navy have always been kind of like an interesting ripple to whatever other conflicts are happening. But like, no, we're taking the fight to them this time. Yeah, and it really does feel like the stakes are high, and you are running into a facility that is connected to like two of the worst places you would ever possibly want to go if you're a pirate.
Once again, there's still a time limit. If she gets through those doors, we're not going to get her back. So we gotta do it. Yeah. And the fact that they're still kind of split up, because we got Sanji and Usopp with Frankie on the train, and I guess and Robin to a degree.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like I feel like the with so many kind of split, like characters in different locations, all kind of accomplishing different objectives. It feels like it's a little more of a complicated story than we've seen before. I think even compared to something like Alabasta, which did have kind of characters split off doing their own things, but I don't know. I guess maybe just because the cast is so much bigger this time.
It feels like it, yeah. So,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm excited because this train ain't stopping.
Yeah, it can't stop.
Nope.
You cannot stop it.
I'm so looking forward to more. But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 361 to 365 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. Yes, Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. Yeah, no, I feel like I had something work related to talk about, but no, I guess not. Yeah, no, just
cool. All right, well, definitely check them out. Of course, you still have your new series as well, Wild Strawberry, I think it is.
Yeah, which is still great.
Yep. And check that out. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 366 to 370 of One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.